Warning, in this episode we use vulgar language and talk about drugs.
Inconceivable!
Will you please act like you have more than a two-word vocabulary?
Is there air? You don't know!
And now, a yak.
Yak! Yeah!
Hey, don't touch that dial. You found Secular Yakking.
I'm Robert.
And I'm Amy.
After years,
No, many years of yakking at each other.
we're here to yak at you.
So sit back and enjoy the yakking.
Hey, welcome back everybody. I hope you had a wonderful week.
Talk closer to the mic and we will.
Maybe I will next time.
So, how was your week?
Oh man, tough. Very tough. You want to know why?
Okay.
'Cause I forgot to get Twitter followers.
Oh my god. Well, you
But-
also just now played the Potter soundtrack for our beginning soundtrack. So,
I wonder why that is.
because somebody took too big of a hit on a pipe.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh,
Anyways, we do have a show to do.
yeah, it'll be interesting with him.
Aside from my current condition, we have a very interesting show. At least I think it is.
Yes, he's one he keeps begging me to do, and I keep saying, I don't know.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just get on with the show then.
Obviously, Mr. I forgot the Twitter people.
Fine.
That's very
I will
rude.
thank everybody twice next week.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's been a rough day for me, so I kind of...
Yeah, and now you've hindered your abilities. So.
Yeah. It's true. So this should make for an interesting
Well,
science-based show.
I don't know about you, but it's been 25 years since the last time I did a hit.
Yeah, me too.
It's not doing a thing for
Of course
me.
not.
I'm kind of
the
bummed.
person has to push the buttons.
That's you.
Right.
Anyways,
On with the show. So
Yes, please.
we're talking about a genetic disorder that most of you have probably seen me posting on this week. This month is National PKU Awareness Month,
right.
along with about 60 other awarenesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, which is probably almost every single one of you, PKU stands for Phenylketonuria, is how it's pronounced, which is one of the tests they do that heel prick when babies are born.
Right.
So, lucky me, I won the prize.
Yeah, we were going to... so Amy does have PKU.
Yes, I do. And there are many forms of PKU, real bad to, it could be worse. I have the real bad, of course, because that's the only way I roll. I have to have the best of the best.
Of course you do. That's why you have me.
Yeah, the full thing.
Yep.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Anyway, so PKU is an inherited genetic disorder that affects approximately 1 in 15,000 people in the United States. A person with PKU does not produce enough of a certain liver enzyme called phenylalanine hydroxylase, or PAH.
Uh-huh.
I should do this more often.
So we're going to be high every time we do this?
High yakking, maybe.
Ooh.
High yakking. Wow.
I kind of like that.
Anyway, Phe is found in foods, items that contain protein. Usually when people eat protein, it is broken down into different amino acids
Stop the train.
that are then processed and
No.
used for growth.
Did you do the enzyme process thing?
The enzyme is needed to process amino ion.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
I did not.
Holy shit.
That's fine. This enzyme is needed to produce the amino acid phenylalanine down into different amino acids that are then processed and used for growth and repair of the body tissue.
Yeah, I definitely have to watch what you're reading because I'm not so sure you're...
I got all that.
Yeah, this was an important topic.
I know.
And the only reason we bought this stuff, which it's legal here, so we can, was because he, in all his research he's been doing on PKU, has discovered it has benefited some people that are suffering from the side effects of PKU. And so we thought today while we were shopping, hey, why don't we stop by the certain store and go see about picking some up? See if I can start trying it on a regular basis and seeing if some of my issues it helps for. And I have not done it in 25 years. I don't know how long it's been for you.
About the same.
About the same?
Yeah.
And we're doing it with a pipe, which I've never done. I've always only rolled my old papers, and I'm really thinking I want to go back to the papers.
Well, we'll see how it goes. We can also do edibles. So
No, too many calories.
yeah.
Maybe. We'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
But anyways, this is an important show, regardless of how kind of wonky he is right now. So go ahead.
With individuals with PKU, however, cannot process Phe or phenylalanine,
Right.
In the same way. Instead, Phe builds up in the blood and can become toxic to the brain.
Yes, it does.
Yes. When left untreated, PKU patients who consume too much Phe are at risk of severe neurological complications, including IQ loss, memory loss, concentration problems, mood disorders, and in some cases, severe mental retardation.
Right. And it also causes seizures, major. It causes nerve twitches that parts of your body tends to do, or, whether it's your arm just kind of moving or twitching on its own, or your eyes kind of twitching a little bit uncontrollably, or your lip. I've had that. I've had a few of these things actually, but so when you eat foods, because everything has Phe in it,
everything,
phenylalanine.
Everything has Phe, whether it's got protein or not. But
right, it's just certain foods have more than others, and it builds up in our brains when we eat it. Basically, when we consume it, it can't break down. It can't go anywhere. So it just.
Well, I'm going to drop a bit more science in a minute.
Yeah, please do, because I'm having issues.
So PKU,
low IQ.
Yeah, PKU can be treated by a diet low in phenylalanine and high in tyrosine. While there is no cure, in recent years, few drug products have become available that can be used in limited cases to mitigate the effects of this disorder. Other therapies currently under investigation include injectable form of PAH and gene therapy.
Oh, so like insulin shots.
Yeah, like an insulin shot.
Which, that's new. They just started.
It's still in trials.
Yeah.
And they just started human trials, so it's going to be a while.
Now, with PKU, it wasn't until the 60s that they learned to not only test for it, but also treat it.
Yeah, they figured out how to get...
Basically how to handle it, I guess is what you could say. Because what happens is when an untreated infant child starts eating it and it builds up, your brain is not fully developed till the age of 2. Okay, not fully developed, but developed to function as a normal person. And what happens is when the Phe builds up in your brain, it starts to stop the general processes that happening for function and what have you. And you have severe mentally handicapped to the point where you can't feed yourself. You can't really walk. You're in wheelchairs.
I think the term they used was effective IQ 0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. But and people are all affected at all different levels. But like I said, it wasn't until the mid-60s that they started being able to help treat this. And I was born in 1974, and so there wasn't a lot of kids at this time, even for 1974, that had this disease. So, my mom trying to find a doctor, we were military, so we traveled a lot. So example, one place we moved to, Arizona, they only had 2 children in the entire state who ever had it before, and they were severely mentally handicapped. And so they didn't really know how to treat me. And that was the majority for most kids. You have, either a child who was never tested at birth that, has it. And, as they're going on, they start having these levels of milestones that they're missing severely, to where it just, by the age of 2, it's so severe. Some children has even been known to die from it, because it's basically shutting down your brain for the processing that it needs to do.
Yeah, and there's some interesting science behind how that works.
Right.
So the gene defect for PKU is an autosomal recessive genetic defect and is unknowingly passed down from generation to generation, right?
Right.
So you got to have both parents.
They have to both be a carrier.
Right.
And lucky me won the prize.
Yeah.
And yet my brother does not have it, but he's a carrier now.
More than likely, he has a 75% chance of being a carrier.
Oh, I just assumed it was automatic.
Or
anyways.
roughly. Yeah, I don't know the exact of that, but I think it was 75%.
Okay.
Anyways, classical PKU affects 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 20,000 in people, depending on your country of origin.
Right.
So where your heritage is from.
Right.
It's estimated there are 230 children born every year in the United States with PKU, with a total of about 15,000.
That's it, though?
That's it.
Just 230 kids each year?
A year.
It's no wonder nobody's heard of PKU.
Yeah.
Or that we get any help for it.
Yeah. because it's on the National Organization for Rare Diseases. It's one of them. And it's pretty high on their list.
Right. But nobody has ever heard of it. Nobody you ever talk to has ever hears of it.
Unless you're in the medical community, nobody knows what it is. Well, in general, there's a few out there that don't, but
yeah,
it's
Anyways, you were saying.
Anyways, in addition, so she talked about some of the stuff that happens to her brain, right?
Right, it builds up because I can't break it down.
Well, there's actually a lot of science behind why that happens too.
Yeah, this is all new stuff, by the way, for me.
People with PKU, especially those with Phe levels above the recommended range.
That's me, right?
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, okay.
All the time.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're about to read. So, yeah.
Medical studies have shown that people with PKU are more likely to be depressed and anxious and to suffer from phobias, reduced physical emotions, and achievements.
Mm-hmm. Panic attacks.
Yeah.
I get panic attacks.
Self-doubt.
Yeah. Like major panic attacks,
Yeah.
freaking out kind of thing, and depression. I have that often.
Yeah.
And then also not doing well in social settings.
Yeah, you tend to be antisocial.
And I noticed because I have been off diet, which is something we'll talk about in a minute, all my symptoms are escalating, I guess you could say, and getting worse.
They have been starting to. That's why we decided to try this.
I've noticed a lot of things
therapy.
that are changing.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue on.
Adults and teenagers with PKU who have been treated early and continuously with a low-feed diet may still experience mild neurocognitive issues or symptoms.
Yeah, I was diagnosed just a couple days after I was born. My mom followed the diet to the T, which is excruciatingly important. It's a matter basically of life or death. It truly is. And because my mom was a stickler and did all the measuring of everything I ate and the measuring and doing the math of the things I didn't eat, because you have to count that as well, making sure I take my formula. I mean, it's so much work. It's so hard to describe. And then, I went off diet at age 7, off the low protein, because I was part of a test that they were doing in the late 70s, early 80s about whether children need to be on diet full time or would they be all right off diet. Well, I was one of the ones with Dr. Koch who was assigned to go off diet. And one thing with having PKU, we have to do fingerprint pricks often to test our blood levels. And I guess at the time I was in a reasonable range, so they let me off. But lo and behold, being a military brat, we traveled a lot, yada, yada. And a few years later, they come to find out, oh my gosh, these kids should not get off a diet. They need to stay on it their whole life 24/7. But some kids got lost in the mix. And I found out just, a couple years ago, that I was apparently one of the children in the test that was lost in the shuffle and never knew. So I've been off diet since at the age of 7. I am currently 42, and the only time I've been on it is when I had my 2 pregnancies.
Yeah, well, really seriously on the diet.
I was very seriously on the diet for those 2 pregnancies, and it wasn't until a couple of years later I started to go back on the diet.
Yeah.
But I can't seem to stay on the diet. 1, because, I've eaten normal food my life now for most of my life, and 2, it's so ungodly expensive that we can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
It's crazy expensive. Insurance doesn't cover it. And for an example, it's a can of formula, looks like a can of baby formula, and it costs anywhere from $60 to $100 a can, and I go through 3 cans a week, and I'm actually not doing as much as I'm supposed to. So do the math on how expensive that is. One of the other problems is not just the fact that how much those damn cans of formula have, which, by the way, the formula is basically the way I can get protein. It basically keeps all the good proteins in and just takes out the tyrosine. Takes out the phenylalanine, because in my regular diet that goes along with this, I don't get protein. And when my protein levels get low, my hair falls out, and it's a whole horrible thing.
Yeah, that's no fun at all.
Which, going on diet, especially in the beginning of going back on a diet when you've been off, that tends to happen. Your hair, which I can't handle anymore, my hair falling out. Okay, so one of the other things is when you're on this diet, you cannot eat meats, dairy, legumes, fish, poultry, none of that. Well, that's a meat. That's redundant. But anything, nuts, none of that. I can't have anything.
Tofu?
Basically, no. God, that's so high in protein.
Yeah, anything soy-based.
So basically, to make it easy, I can literally only have fruits and vegetables, and even those are in certain amounts because everything has phe in it. But they do have a low-protein food. It's like a synthetic food, I guess.
It's real food.
Well, it's real food if you want to call it real food.
Chemically enhanced.
It's better than it used to be. So I will give it that.
Yes.
But you're talking a loaf of bread that's 6 inches long and looks like coasters for your drink, and that costs you $10. I mean, you're looking at 12 ounces of pasta costing you 16. It's like insanely expensive that it's not even... doesn't even make sense, really.
I know.
But anyways, I was just kind of ranting.
Well, that's fine. We're here to do that.
Obviously, IQ drops.
Yeah. So
Science.
On some of the science I was doing, evidence from MRIs has revealed that the majority of people with PKU have abnormalities in their white matter section of the brain.
Okay, I don't know where that is.
That's where all the communications take place, or part of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, just real quick, does that also where, like, when you forget a word?
Yeah, because it's not communicating properly.
Right.
So, when I was reading this science, it gave me an idea of how to understand how phenylalanine works with the blood-brain barrier.
Okay.
Right. So, it has to have a go-between to go from your blood to your brain.
Uh-huh.
Right, because the barrier keeps out almost everything.
Okay.
Right. But I forgot the name of it because I forgot to write it down. But there's this little thing, and they equate it to a bus, right? So it carries over the stuff, the amino acids, and all the stuff that needs to get to your brain still.
Right.
But it carries it over, literally, right? It helps it get over. But it only has, and they equated it to a bus because it only has so many seats.
Okay.
Right. And so what happens when, say, phenylalanine builds up in your brain, it takes up more seats. Because there's more of it to take the seats.
Right, makes sense.
So not only are you getting more phenylalanine in your brain, you're getting less of the other things your brain does need.
Because there's no room for it.
Right, and what this does is it interrupts the communication cycles. It makes it harder for the neurotransmitters to get the information across.
Now, what does that?
What does what?
Makes it because of it building up. See, this is the low IQ thing going on here. But just the building up in the brain is what's causing that. Okay.
And since your brain doesn't communicate right, it's rewired itself in such a way that it's literally different from what so-called normal brains.
Okay.
Which I found was really interesting. That's part of the white matter issue.
Okay.
So, and every PKU patient apparently has a different brain wiring from normal people. It's everyone they've checked.
Just in different levels?
Yeah, just different levels. But
okay.
The way that they're wired, I forgot. They had a term, but I forgot it. So
uh-huh.
Kind of going off memory for some of this stuff.
Yeah, and with you kind of being little up there, you're not going to help your memory there.
Right. So that's how PKU works. By not allowing... So, because you can't break down phenylalanine to tyrosine, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Not enough tyrosine is going over, but extra phenylalanine is going over.
And it's staying there.
And it's staying there, right?
Now, phenylalanine breaks down to tyrosine, and tyrosine breaks down to... What was it?
Different...
The happy thing.
Oh, yeah. Eventually, it can get turned into serotonin and dopamine.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, and I don't do that, which is why we get depressed and stuff, right?
And we have weird bipolar incidences and sleeping.
Yes, that's another thing with PKU. The mood swings are severe.
And sleeping, lack of, because serotonin levels are out of whack.
Oh, that's why I'm always up at 2 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. But also, in the memory thing, being older now and being off diet, I've noticed not only the physical issues going on, but memory is slowly going out of whack because I'll know what I want to say. I know the word, but my God, I cannot find the damn thing where the hell it went. And I'm talking something as simple as calling, that a bridge. What's the word for bridge?
Right.
I can't find it. And it's weird because maybe in another conversation I can say bridge just fine, but I just seem to lose words in conversations that are just everyday common words. And I've noticed being off diet now, which we can't afford it, but we so need to be on it. it's getting worse as far as that goes.
Right.
And the mood swings are horrendous because I can be like extremely pissed off, but that's like 5% of the time, and 95% of the time I'm crying all the time. Even if I'm not sad, I cry. It's like the weirdest thing ever.
It's like you're permanently pregnant.
It's really what it seems like. I am an emotional roller coaster, and I can cry at like the stupidest thing. I could cry at a cartoon. I mean, seriously, makes no damn sense, and I just start crying. It's ridiculous. Or I'm screaming and getting really pissed off.
Yeah, that's
very bipolar-ish.
Yes, it's very frustrating at times.
Yeah, the mental capacity and brain function is nothing really to play with, I guess.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
Anyways, you were going to tell me about the studies.
Well, I did. Anyway, we'll finish that.
I want to hear that.
So they did two study on two groups, one who did not have PKU. In the PKU group, 96% had white brain matter abnormalities commonly associated with PKU that were not experienced by the people who did not have PKU.
Well, that's pretty easy.
So, yeah.
That's kind of a no-brainer test.
Right, and the IQ scores in the PKU group were lower than that did not have PKU, especially in the cases where high Phe levels have been experienced.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've been off since 7.
Yeah,
so.
especially, and they're coming to find out that in the teen years are just as important.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the finishing of the brain, because there's a lot of
I was going to say,
a lot of stuff in your late teens.
Technically, not till you're in your early 20s that it really is done cooking.
Yeah. See, and we talked about the only treatment there is. It's not really a treatment. It's just a lifestyle.
Well, I was going to say, there is no treatment for it. You can't cure this. You can combat it, or not even combat it. You could just tolerate having
deal with it.
Deal with it. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Just by doing formula and following the dietary aspect of it that goes, they have to go together. And that's pretty much the only choice you have. I'm very curious to see about this insulin shot type of deal thing that they're cooking.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I hate the idea of needle. I can't even handle when I am on diet and having to do those finger pricks.
Oh, no, you're still going to be monitored on it.
No, I know. Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense.
It's just
but
like
to do a shot every single day and be able to eat normal food and not worry how bad this is for my brain would be worth it. I really think it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on diet. I can't afford to be on diet, so I'm eating foods that are so incredibly bad for me, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
And it's not like I can, say I'll just lay off the meat and go low protein. Well, hello people, your body does not function without protein, because I did that once because we were going to get on formula, but it was like a couple weeks before we got into the doctor to do it and everything. And my hair was falling out like in handfuls. It was so bad because I wasn't eating protein, but I wasn't on formula yet either.
Yeah, it was malnutrition is what it was.
It's awful. And so now, no formula, no low protein diet, normal food, and old age, and it's starting to add up, I suppose.
Well, like you said, there are some treatments. Right? There's one called Kuvan, which is a BH4 replacement. So I don't think I covered this in science bit, but how PKU works is you can't get from phenylalanine to tyrosine without the hormones PAH and BH4, right? So in this form of phenylketonuria, the PAH is not created, so you can't do that breakdown.
Okay, so I'm missing that letter thing to do the work.
Right. So what Kuvan does is it allows everything to stabilize. You still can't process phenylalanine, right?
I will never be able to.
But it's a lot easier because you've got some extra chemical help in your body to stabilize your system, and you can eat a little bit better.
I was going to say,
and in fact, when you get on Kuvan, you can have more protein, just not a ton.
Yeah, I was going to say, I read Kuvan, you can have more protein, but still have to follow the formula in the low protein diet. It does help. Now, this daily shot that they're looking at, I heard that we could eat normal food, but you still have to do, your blood counts and all that.
Right.
Now, on a side note, in Canada, so right now here we live in Washington, and my insurance does not cover my formula or any of it. So we have to pay for it completely by ourselves, and at $100 a can, or give or take, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And in Canada, their formula is 100% covered. Their low protein medical food is 100% covered. And the last time I saw, excuse me, some blogs or whatever, they were fighting for their country to cover Kuvan 100%.
Right.
And, you know, they were complaining and saying how they should cover it, whatever. And I wanted to chime in, but I didn't. I'm thinking, oh my God, what I would not give for our country to have to cover my medical formula.
Right.
Because that's what it is. You know, it's a matter of my life and not my life. And,
right.
And, you know, it says, you know, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Well, I don't, or is it the other one I was thinking of?
No, it's...
But either way, you know, quality of life. And when you're not on diet, you don't have the quality of life. And if you really are severe symptoms, from either not being on diet ever or just it's starting to build up so much that it's causing problems, that's not a quality of life. And since our country doesn't cover it, a lot of people cannot afford it. You know, some are lucky and can get, you know, some insurance coverage.
Yeah, some states have requirements for it. But
here in Washington, they don't. And, God, I would give for them even to, you know, what's the word?
Subsidize.
So that's what I was going to say, but I wasn't sure. Just so we don't have to pay the whole thing because it's so incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people can't afford it. But anyways, if we had a full universal healthcare thing.
Yeah, that would help.
I wouldn't have
Provided
to worry.
we get people to understand that it's not a nutritional supplement like
well,
they're telling
I was
us.
going to say the insurance companies get away from it because they are labeling it as a
nutritional
supplement.
I'm starting to see more labeling as a medical food, so that's closer.
Well, it's like when we went to the clinic here, they basically congratulated me on choosing to go back on diet.
Yeah.
And the only thing that kept running through my head is, how is this a fucking choice? Either we do this and it helps keep our brain functioning so we're not drooling and in wheelchairs and shaking and seizures and you name it, or we take the formula because we can choose which avenue we'd like to go.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, to call it a supplement is bullshit.
I agree.
It's no different than a diabetic needing insulin. A phenylketonuria needs formula. There's just no ifs or buts about it.
Yeah. And there are some nice organizations out there that are working really hard to change the laws and get the formula covered.
I know. It's just such a slow process. I mean, like I said, anytime you mention PKU, they're like, what? You know, so it doesn't get the notification and the publicity that you need a lot of times for
I searched for
fundraisers.
Celebrities with PKU.
None.
There's none that have...
I've looked.
Yeah. There's none that say they have it.
Right.
Which
I would imagine if they did, they would...
Maybe
mention it just because it needs the notoriety.
Yeah, you would think so.
It needs the normalization, as you say, for the help. You know, it's like everybody knows about diabetes and raise money for the, you know, help or cure or studies or whatever. But I've never once heard a PKU thing.
No, I mean, we did miss the conference.
That also irritates me too. I'm living right here and there was a conference and never even knew it. Anyways, you should continue because I'm talking too much.
Well, that's fine. We've covered pretty much everything there is.
Oh, did I say it all on accident?
Yeah, you did, actually, yeah.
Oops. But there is one thing we didn't cover. When I'm pregnant, it is like poison to the fetus.
Right, because the fetus may have a normally operating system, right? And when it goes through the placenta, the amount of phenylalanine
triples, I believe.
It increases in strength and number.
Right,
because the placenta takes some of it out more, and it sends it down into, because you need phenylalanine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need that much.
Right, and I do know when I was born, my parents were told that I could never have children. So the first time I was pregnant, my dad was very, very freaking out.
Oh yeah,
because that's the last time he had ever heard anything about that.
Yeah.
So he was really worried. So needless to say, my pregnancies were very difficult.
Yeah.
because of this whole complication. And then my second one, not only do I have PKU, which was her very first PKU patient, but I had twins for her too. So that was fun, trying to do a PKU diet and yet still grow and feed a set of twins.
Yeah, not fun.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, it causes low birth rate, small circumference of the head, heart problems, a number of things. And as a matter of fact, my one of my twins has a heart condition, and we're assuming it was from my PKU, but
more
we're
than
not
likely
sure.
because her sister doesn't have one.
Yeah, her identical twin sister doesn't have a heart condition.
So that was environmental.
And then our oldest has a few issues, but she also wasn't breathing at birth, so they're not sure which one contributed to the issues. So, you know, it's a very rare, very high maintenance thing, or disease, I guess it is.
It's a disease.
And it's not curable. And there's all different levels of it, and your life pretty much sucks without it. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about, babe, is that new thing that they are discovering now that we are getting older. You know, because like I said, they weren't treating this until like the mid-60s.
Yeah, so now that
so all of
basically the
us
oldest
kids are getting
generation,
older now.
So in your 40s, mostly in your 40s. So as you get older, regardless of whether you're on diet or not, it's just worse if you're off diet, you end up with signs of onset early dementia.
Yeah, dementia was one of them. Seizures get
right.
worse.
Right. So basically,
Alzheimer's too.
Yeah,
and
Alzheimer's.
Schizophrenia we get.
Yeah, we kind of covered a little schizophrenia.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, but what I think for me, what's frightening and that you just researched on is how you can take someone who's been on diet their whole life, and now that they're finding out in their older ages, like 50s or, you know, just whatever, we're older, that all that time was basically just managing it during those years. And all this time we thought it was helping to prevent when we get older to not fall apart.
Right. Yeah, it turns out.
And now it's turning out that that's not helping when we're old anymore.
So the diet is being considered as not as effective as they had originally hoped.
Right.
As people are getting older, it's becoming less and less effective on them because we're getting older, right? And
your brain starts to get old anyways when
right.
you get older. So apparently in a PKU brain, it's like so much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about, you explained it to my mother really well. Something about how the brain, when you get older, starts to, you know, not function as well. But in a PKU patient, it's like full speed or something.
Yeah, because your brain is wired differently. It shuts down differently. So, you know, a normal brain's going to shut down in a certain way. But what yours is doing is shutting down the wrong parts because it's not wired right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And it's scary to know that they did the right thing. They were on formula their whole lives, and it's still affecting them as well.
Yeah. Just not as bad.
I haven't been on formula
the
whole time. So what the hell is that going to do to me, and how fast is it going to do it?
I don't know. That's why we're trying to get you on formula.
Yeah. Well, that's scary, huh?
Yeah. Anyways.
So be thankful if you don't have it, which pretty much
if you don't have any rare disease, because they're all pretty bad.
Or any for that matter. Absolutely. And you should look up PKU and watch some of the videos that people have put out there. They're unbelievable stories. They really are.
Go to YouTube, just type in PKU in your search, and you'll get a ton.
Yeah, some of the videos are really sad.
They're pretty heartbreaking, actually.
There's a lot of them, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for now, I still somewhat function like a normal human, but as I get older, I'm noticing issues, and not being on diet, I'm noticing issues, and
right.
But there's others that are even worse off than I am. But then again, I'm kind of like in the middle of the road. I'm not as bad as I could be, but I'm not as good as people I've seen who are doing so well, have high-end jobs or just really good jobs and successful. I can't seem to hold down a job because I have whatever issues that keep developing, and you know, I don't socialize very well, and it seems I seem to be socializing worse and worse. But yet at the same time, like, you know, when we're in a surprise conversation with someone, I do just fine talking, but it's the initial thinking of it or thinking about it or even the thought of doing it. I don't like it. It freaks me out. And that part seems to be getting worse and worse.
Yeah, which is again discouraging.
Yeah, I try not to think about it too much.
Anyways, I think that's all the yakking I got this week.
I know, I'm good.
I think we've depressed everybody enough.
Yeah, right? Totally depressing. And all I did was just yak the whole damn time.
Why
You
we
were
can't-
supposed to be doing all the talking.
Well, it works out this way.
Oh boy.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Next week.
We always like to hear your feedback, so leave us a voicemail at 704-802-YAK or an email at podcast@secularyakking.com.
More input.
All comments are welcome. We like to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. You also can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google+.
If you like our show, head over to your podcast directory of choice and leave us a 5-star review. If you really like the show, support the show on our Patreon page.
I'd buy that for $1.
And we'll be back next week with more yakking to please your eardrums.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle. Goodbye.